You know, it's funny, Alicia and I both now can hear the rain outside. But it's funny, if you don't label it rain, I was just sitting here closing my eyes and it actually kind of sounded like popcorn popping. If you don't label it, it's just pop, pop, pop. And so that's really what this meeting is all about, is we're just investigating labels that we traditionally hold as real. And we're just investigating to see that maybe they're not quite what we think they are. Maybe they're not so solid. Maybe the label is a perspective of countless perspectives, right? This has every perspective, right? It's got, well, you can't even, what could you say that would encapsulate this moment? This is all just spontaneously happening all by itself. Nobody's doing anything. It's this appearing as everything. That's the beauty of this message. And that's the freedom, really, is from the simplicity of it. You feel it. That all is truly this. Period. Done. Now we can discuss what feels like not this, because that's all you got, right? The me is saying, no, there's something here that's not this. And so the message here is that feeling that this isn't it is this appearing as that feeling. So what is me? Me is an imagining, a persistent imagining, an imagining of separation and a feeling of separation. So it's this, believe it or not, imagining that it's not this. But it makes sense if you realize that freedom is free to be anything. At least that's how it landed here. Freedom wouldn't have any restrictions on it. And that's why all is this. So whether it's something you like, something you don't like, whether it's a peaceful, seemingly peaceful act or a seemingly warring act, an act of violence, this too. Because it's always this. Well, when is it not this? It might feel like, you know, God, I really hate this moment. You know, no, I'm serious. I really want this. I hate it. It's boring. I know this moment. It's so dead. Well, let's look. Is that true? Is this moment really dead? Have you ever experienced this moment before? So that brand newness can't be thought about. And that's sort of the trap that the me falls into. This apparent me is it relies on thinking, on movement. On having to do something. But this is already here. And so that's the freedom that it was always here. Well, you can't even say. So that's why practices or no practices are both fine. It literally doesn't matter. You could do practices and no problem. And you could also maybe notice that things seem to be happening and you don't have anything to do with that. Now, some people can hear that and say, well, Michael, it sounds depressing. What you're saying sounds really nihilistic. It sounds like I'm just this lonely, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's never been a me there in the first place to anything, to do anything, to think anything. So even all those childhood thoughts and memories were just this, but that's just how it is. But look now, where's your past right now? Does this moment, the assumption that this moment has a past is just that. It's an assumption that this moment has a past. If you're just present here now, there's no past. There's just this. There's just what's happening. You can't find a past. And probably what is actually the most exciting thing about this message is if you get a sense of the inclusivity of it, that let me let Nkosi in. When all is this is not just a mantra, but suddenly there's no separation. Because there isn't. Look now. You can find patterns and colors, but do you see any separation anywhere? Like, and so that no separation is the peace, because then all is this. So whatever's happening in front of you, so to speak, is just this appearing as that. Right? Because look at the difference. Before, right, when I'm a spiritual seeker and I lose my cool, I'm completely screwed, right? Because now I'm mad at myself because I didn't get what I want and I lost my temper. Somebody, pulled my chain. all that efforting to try and control the emotions, the thoughts, to get them just to be the way I want them. So that's why Nkosi says effortless and obvious. Effortless, because it's already the case. So if something's already the case, no effort. And obvious is just what's appearing. That's the obvious. It's not hidden. It's literally just what's appearing. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's welcome to participate. So if you have a comment or question, please feel free to unmute and jump in.
I just want to share with you something. In my discussion with Nkosi a couple of days ago, and this was important to me, and we talked about just what's happening, just really what does that mean, and just kind of went into some in depth about it. And what I really came out with it is now when I say, well, that's just what's happening to no one, and adding that to no one really has made a difference to me. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Alice. Oh, okay, yeah. So Nkosi, I put a post, one of you, Alice, your videos with Nkosi, where I said he ended with a Zen koan. Nkosi, I just love this. This is the closest thing I've heard anybody describe the me. Like the closest could actually like give you a visceral, listen to this. He goes, imagine there's a raccoon blocking the screen. Can you all imagine that? Like picture a raccoon with its big eyes and it's in the way of your screen right now. It's like clamped on. So you can't see the whole screen because you got this raccoon guy. Okay, everyone imagining that? Okay, Nkosi says, so can you try to remove the raccoon? How would you get it off there? Would you hit it? Yeah, Thomas says, yeah, I give it a right.
Wait, say that again. It's blocking the screen?
Yeah, imagine there's a raccoon blocking the screen. So right now you're having trouble seeing the screen because there's a raccoon there.
Is the raccoon actually there? It's just blocking the screen.
Well, listen to the words. Imagine there's a raccoon blocking the screen.
That's funny, Thomas.
Imagine there's a dog blocking the screen.
Thomas's dog thinks he's a raccoon.
You can't do anything to the raccoon. You're only imagining it.
Exactly. And that was such a beautiful sort of way of, I mean, honestly, Nkosi, it might be one of the best, just to give you a sense of what's not there that feels like it's there.
Yeah. It's just an imagination. It's just an imagination. It's not there.
I don't get
It
it.
is never there.
I don't get that it's not there. What do you mean it's not there?
It's just an imagination. The me, it may seem to be there, but it's just an imagination. It's never there. So there's just this appearing as that. So everything is this.
Something you
The
said,
me.
something you said, Nkosi, you said the me can't be
Mhm.
found, and that like is really like a cool mantra, I think. But the
Yeah.
raccoon not being there, like you certainly can't find me. You go looking for it, you cannot find it. But I can find a raccoon, especially if it's on my keyboard.
But what if you only imagine it? You only
It's
imagine
just
it.
Take the words very, very literally. The
Mhm.
Cohen said, imagine there's a raccoon blocking the screen.
Thank
It doesn't say there is a raccoon blocking the screen. It says, imagine. So there's no raccoon there.
Exactly.
already.
So imagine that there's a world and a me and a life full of problems. What do you do about that? What do you do about the me and the world and all the problems? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
What about,
There's nothing here.
go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, come again.
I put the dog on the screen, and that dog certainly doesn't exist in the sense that the society says it exists. Is that what you're saying? Like, we don't know what's there. You don't know if the dog is there. Is that what you're saying about the raccoon? You can't prove there's a raccoon there. You can only prove that you're perceiving a raccoon.
There's not a dog on the screen right now. I can see it because I can see you both very clearly. But can you imagine that there's a dog on the screen?
I can put one on the screen.
No, imagine, just imagine there's one.
Okay, yes,
Okay, is it there?
yes.
Where is it? I can't see it.
In your imagination.
Well, I would agree that imaginary objects, nothing can be done about them. And now I'm starting to see the point.
Okay.
Yeah, Alice, that's actually very good because you can apply that. Has anyone ever seen your me?
That's good.
Again, everybody's welcome to share, participate. You can't go wrong.
My question is, you know, Michael, how you put Nkosi's words into a book form. What about making those words up as a song that people can sing? Like, I've been brought up in the Christian church, and people get the word of God and they put it to music and then play that song or sing that song and find it encouraging of the words of the content. I would like to ask if anybody knows of any vocalist, any musician who has put the non-duality words to music, and I can look on YouTube and find that and get encouragement, not just from the spoken word, but from it put to music. You know, like when Alice said about how it was significant to her to have, I don't know, all is this and it's happening to no one, whatever.
Yeah.
What about somebody puts that to music and I can get up in the morning when I'm feeling miserable and put on some nice music with lyrics that belong to non-duality.
There
You
is
know,
a gal.
funny.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you know, it's funny. This happened a couple of years ago. Whenever I listen to the radio or any kind of music, I can hear it in there. It's like it's not talk. I used to think songs were about human romantic relationships, but it's like the humans have disappeared and the song is just about, I guess for lack of a better term, the original love affair.
What came to mind for me when Faith was talking was several times I had the thought this week, wouldn't it be nice if we had an audio of that book? And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and if you ever decide to do that, Michael, I'd be happy to help you in any way that I could. But it looks like maybe a one-man job, I don't know. But possibly, what's that?
That's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of that, but maybe Nkosi and I could do it together.
That'd be awesome. And then
Well,
maybe with the music, some of that very soft music that you played when you and I were working together
Ah,
might be a nice
wow.
background. But I've often thought when I'm getting ready in the morning, those words are so powerful,
That's
and
great.
I can't read. That would be like a next step, probably.
Yeah. I like it.
Thanks.
well, what about if you would sing it, Michael?
Oh, no. You do not want me to sing, trust me. But Nkosi's a pretty good rapper.
Well, there you go. That's it. No?
Listen
How
to
would
his
you like
voice.
it sung?
No, honestly, I've never heard Nkosi sing, but from the way he talks, and actually I do know, I think you shared with me, Nkosi, you did sing a little bit in the church.
Well, there you go. That's the answer.
Yeah, I can sing a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Can
Everyone
you sing Rocky Raccoon?
I mean,
Well,
right
everyone
now,
hears differently, but I
No
wouldn't like
kidding.
to. I wouldn't like those words to be sung, but that's only my idea.
Well, I listened to a Christian worship song the other day, and it had words that were very similar to what we talk about here and what Nkosi would say. And I felt it quite moving, and yeah, it had an extra dimension to it that just speaking didn't for me.
Faith, there is
Yes, go on.
just going to throw in, there is a gal on Facebook called Miranda Warren, and she has a list of non-dual songs, and you may find some that inspire you.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Peter. That's
And you can
sort of-
find her easily and she'll respond and tell you, so this give you the list.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Very good. That's a good one. Yeah, that should be helpful. I
Yeah.
wanted, oh, sorry, who was someone to say something? I just wanted to, for a moment, talk about the me as an imaginary boundary.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, that's how I experience to me. It's a boundary that I've been living with for X years, 70 almost now. And well, I guess I have to deduct the first few years, which supposedly I wasn't imagining that boundary. But so, yeah, it's helpful to notice that it's just imagined. The tough part is to make the shift. At first, it's just a concept for me. You know, it's like it's a concept, and I say, yeah, that's cool. And you know, how you know, are the 67 years of imagining gonna slowly disappear or dissolve? Somewhat. I tried it on earlier when we did the squirrel exercise. I tried it on, and yeah, it sticks.
Peter, where's the past right now?
It's an imagination. There is no past.
So if there's no past, there's no 60, 70 years.
Exactly. However, you know, there is some kind of like having to keep that in mind, so to speak. Like, and maybe that's just a crutch, you know, to remember that, or you know, to have you ask me, and then I say, yeah, oh yeah, of course, you know.
No, but I'm not asking you to remember it. I'm asking you to look now. Just now.
Yeah, no, just now there is no past. No.
See, that's what I can't grasp so I get that, like, you can only imagine the past right now, and I get that you can only imagine the future right now, but what about like the memory? Like, for example, 10 minutes ago, I was in a different area of my house doing something. When you say that, are you saying that when that was happening, that was also in the now? Is that what you mean by that? Or like, what is the memory?
It's an imagining.
A dreaming kind of, in a way?
Mhm. Yeah, you could call it a dream. Sure. It feels real.
Did it happen?
No.
Is this happening?
Yes, it did happen. It's just that it didn't happen to anyone, but it did happen.
Says who?
Well,
It appeared as if it happened.
It was an appearance.
Yes.
well, you can
Okay.
boil that down to everything though. Like you can say everything's imaginary because it certainly is. Like nothing, you can't prove that any object exists, and they certainly don't exist because they're, as soon as you perceive it, becomes an idea. So yeah, is there a bunch of ideas floating around? Yeah. So the past does fall into that category, but the past is as real as this non-real dog over here. Sure, they're both non-real, but there's a past, just that nobody has that past. There's a past.
When I walked into the room, you know, a couple minutes ago, was that a couple minutes ago that happened when I walked into the room? Was that just as real as what's happening right now? The same realness?
Well, the realness doesn't move, Vanessa. It's always here.
There's only what's happening right now.
Except for what's in the past.
No exceptions, except exceptions. Yeah.
Now my favorite verse, it's happening to no one. It's happening to no one.
Yeah, that is crystal clear. It's so that like Nkosi says, it's what's obvious. Like, okay, it's obvious. You go searching for no one, you find nothing, but for sure there's a past. Anybody comes to me and say there's a past, but yeah, for sure. Go on your way now.
Well, in the world, it's assumed. It's just assumed there's a past. Of course there's a past, but you know, it seems very solid and real. But what about right now? Because that's all there ever is just now. So here now, let's look. Can we find a past? It's not a trick question.
What I have is I cannot. There's no way I can go into the past and experience that. The only evidence that I really have of the past is just a memory of it. But I don't really know what memories are.
So whose memory is it?
I wouldn't say it really belongs to anyone. It's more just a knowing of a memory, an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
It's an appearance that's happening.
Nkosi, didn't you do a video on All Is Imagined?
Yeah, I think I did, but I don't remember. There's so many videos right now.
And if you haven't been to our new shiny website, check it out, allisthis.net. And you can get the book, All Is This. I love that idea, Alice. Nkosi, we gotta figure out a way to make that happen. You and I doing an audio, that'd be fun. Of course, I have the easy job,
Yeah.
Alice. I just have 2 pages to read just the preface.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, it'd be beautiful though to hear Nkosi read it.
Well, we do one every week here on Wednesday. That's all we're pointing to, is that all is imagined. We're saying it every week.
So all is imagined by no one. So it's not that we are imagining it or that I am imagining it, because it's all being imagined by no one. But everything is imagining everything. So everything's good. and even the raccoon, which I love, the raccoon that I say I was imagining on my computer screen couldn't have happened because there's no me. So everything was imagining me, imagining the raccoon. So if everything is an imagining and there's only everything, then well,
Gone.
this is all, it's like,
You're trying to make sense of it, huh? You're trying to bring logic into it.
but yeah, well, but I'd even say that, okay, say there's me trying to bring logic into it, but that's not me. There's no me. So even that is everything. That's everything too. That's everything trying for whatever reason, I don't know, everything trying to make it logical.
Mhm. That's what the mind does. It wants to somehow grasp it and put it in a conceptual
But-
framework that can be
Right.
gotten.
But that's everything doing it, as opposed to, so that the way people will hear that is like, that's my mind, and there's something wrong with my mind trying to conceptualize and figure things out. But from what I'm understanding, no, it's not my mind trying to figure it out. It's everything somehow contracting and trying to figure it all out for whatever reason. And I'll give Nkosi so he can answer that one, because I'm serious. Yeah.
I'm not Nkosi, but just want to throw in, it's everything expressing as your mind trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it's not me. Nothing personal. So with everything here, so you're watching everything trying to logically figure it out. As long as you don't see me. Because if you're looking at me thinking I'm over here,
Yeah,
then
it's everything appearing as Don and Peter and everyone. So whatever has been spoken or is spoken right now, it's not that there's someone who's speaking, there's someone who's talking. There's just everything appearing as that, so there's no wrong or right with anything. So everything is beautiful. It's just the way it is, because it's just an expression of that, of this. So I usually say, there's nowhere to go. There's no goal to reach. There's just this, appearing as different characters trying to figure out something. Yeah. Trying to make sense of this. So everything is okay just the way it is. There's no doer already. There's no doer of things. There's no one who has a memory. There's no one who has an imagination, who is imagining. There's just this appearing as an imagination. So the doer of things can never be found. It's just never there. So there's just what's happening, and it's happening to no one. Well, if there is a thought that says it's happening to me, it's just an imagination appearing in this. As this. So everything is this. There's no separation. There's no one who can speak on behalf of this. There's no one outside of this to know this and become this. Nothing outside of this. Even what seems to be labels, they're just appearing in this. So right now, there's no past. There's no future. There's no present. There's just this. And this has no one in it. There's just nothing here. And this is going nowhere. So if it seems as if it's going somewhere, that's a dream. And there's no one looking. There's no one who's waiting. There's no one who's listening, even. There's just this, appearing as that, as listening, as waiting, as analyzing. As wondering, not getting it, about to get it. It's just everything appearing as that. And what seems to be appearing, it's appearing to no one. There's nothing happening right now. It seems to be happening, but it's never really happening. That's why I usually say it seems to be happening. It's just what seems to be happening. It's never really happening. There's nothing happening here. And it's beautiful.
So you may have noticed that this meeting doesn't answer any questions.
Because the questions, all the questions, every question is always all about the past, the story of the past, or the past and the future, the story of what's happening, which is all imagination. So any answer that would come up would be the same imagination. And that's why there aren't any answers to any questions here, because we're not talking about imagination. We're always pointing to just this. There are no questions in just this, although the questions are just this too. And the answers. But the questions and the answers never go anywhere, because imagination isn't anywhere. It doesn't, it's not real. There isn't anywhere. There's just this.
And when I'm thinking of questions, what comes up is it's the obsession of the mind. And it's, you know, in the world, it's considered curiosity. It's curiosity to make sense of life, you know, like the predominant questions are, who am I? What is the world, and what is life? And that's considered like, for some, that's the purpose of life, is to find answers to those questions. And yes, the result would be stories that then supposedly answer those questions. It requires a curious mind who can't rest until these questions are answered. And they're not answerable.
Yeah, a curious mind, or a mind that's worn out with questions and answers. It just gives up.
Yeah, that's why it can be good to go ahead, have practices, have mantras, do anything you can think of. You know, whatever feels right is fine. But here, that was all seen to be nothing.
But it's all beautiful, as Nkosi likes to say.
I think everything is this is something that I rarely say myself, but I've heard it here, and it reminds me of a poem. It's a 3-word poem, because you can get everything is this from someone talking, an astrophysicist talking about the Big Bang. And like, well, used to be nothing, and then pop, and then everything that came from that is this. That's an explanation. And the everything is this that I hear Nkosi and Michael talking about is a poem. And there's a feeling associated with that poem. It makes you stop. And like, I'm looking at this room right now, which is fairly neat, amazingly right now. But even when it's just completely shabby, I'm just like, just in the moment, maybe in that poem, like it's a noticing.
So nothing is happening. And then I look for, well, how do I experience that? Which is not, it's not that so is it true? I can't experience nothing is happening. Just like nothing is happening.
Think there's anyone there to experience it.
Yeah, exactly, Vanessa. There's already no one there, Don, to experience it.
Yeah, but there is something happening.
Without a story, what's happening?
I'm just muting and unmuting in response because I don't have.
Perfect. I think the message, and Nkosi, maybe you can take us out with a few words, is the okayness of everything. The okayness, everything's okay.
Yeah, everything is okay. In a sense that it's just an expression of this. It's just this. There's nothing. It's just this. So no matter what might seem to be happening, it doesn't really matter. There may be a question or an answer. Somebody may be arguing, not getting it. It's just this appearing as that. So here, there's always that sense of okayness because it doesn't, there's no separation at all. There's no separation. And this is not against the story because the story is an expression of this. So you can say there's no story, it's just this. Or you can say it's a story, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change this. It doesn't touch this. To say there's no this, there's no story, there is a story, it doesn't touch this. This is just the way it is. To say there's a me or no me, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter to this because it's just this. Everything is this. There is no escape here. There is no escaping this. There's no one here to escape. There's no one to know this or become this, to get this, just this, appearing as that. So, yeah, it's beautiful. That sense of okayness is just there, Because a question may arise right now, an answer may arise, but the one who's asking a question is just never there, and the one who's giving an answer. So it's everything. It's just wholeness doing everything. So it doesn't really matter. So here, at times I might keep quiet because it's seen. When you give an answer, it's seen that it's just everything. There's just everything. Asking a question, giving an answer. So it doesn't really matter. It's going nowhere. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's okay. There's no wrong or right here. So there's no goal to reach. There's nowhere to get to. There are no steps. There's just this. It's effortless and obvious for no one. It appears as everything, yet it's nothing. It appears to happen, but it's never really happening. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, maybe you can say a few words about movement being thought, that all movement is thought-based.
Yeah, they there may seem to be something that says, "Oh, I'm moving, I'm driving," but that's just a thought. So it can only be a thought movement, but this doesn't really move. It's always here. It may appear to move in thought, but it's never really moving. The body may stand up and just walk to the loo. But something may say, oh, I'm walking to the loo, I'll come back. That's just a thought. It's the thought movement, but this doesn't really move. It may appear as a thought moving, but it's never really moving. So the movement is imagined. And no one is doing it. There's no one doing it. There's no one who is imagining. It's just an imagination appearing in this as this. So this doesn't move. It's everywhere present as nothing. There's no separation. Separation is also imagined. The me is imagined as well as others. To say there are others, that's just an imagination appearing in this as this. So there's no one here and there's no movement. There's just this. It's just looking, but nobody's looking. I'm looking is imagined. I'm listening is an imagination. I don't get it. It's imagined. So there's no separation. There's no separate self who's a doer. The doer is already not there. It's just this.
Beautiful. So all is this cannot be known. There's either a resonance there that's it. It's not it's not wordable. This can never be spoken.
But the resonance is not to me though. So just speak about that resonance because it's not to me because I'm not here. So when you speak of the resonance, what is resonating to what?
Yes.
It's just resonating.
The only analogy that I use, because this has come up before, is it's like being in love. You can't describe why you want to be around that person. You just do. There's no rational reason for love. You just, I don't know, I just love them. And so that's how Nkosi's message first hit me when he made that little comment a year and a half ago, that whether there's a me or not a me doesn't matter to this. And that was so powerful because it was so inclusive. It just killed the seeking right there. Because if it doesn't matter whether there's a me there or not, then what's all the to do about? Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening? Thank you, everybody, so very much for coming, each and every one of you. We love and appreciate. Nkosi, brother, thank you so much for everything. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Night. Night.